Hi, this is New Time on Silky TV channel. We introduce you with the most visible news and important events that happened throughout this week in Kazakhstan and Central Asia. More details on politics, economy, social and cultural life with opinions from the most recognizable experts of Kazakhstan and the world. I'm Baljan Samigulina and this is what you will see today. From wars to the rise of AI, faith leaders in Astana confronted today's biggest challenges. What solutions did they find? Kazakh officials on the way to the UN General Assembly. What issues will world leaders tackle on diplomacy's biggest stage? New Time asked the experts. This Saturday will mark the premiere of the international vocal competition Silky Star, who will shine the brightest and take the stage by storm. Kazakhstan has once again played the role of a bridge. For more than 2 decades, Astana has brought together leaders of the world's major faiths to confront the toughest global challenges. They may speak different languages, but they share one common ground, their faith. This week, the Kazakh capital hosted the 8th Congress of Leaders of World and Traditional Religions, a forum held every 3 years since 2003. And the agenda was heavier than ever, from escalating geopolitical tensions to the growing risk of nuclear conflicts. Our report takes you inside the discussions. Here in Astana, the Palace of Independence hosted the 8th Congress of Leaders of World and Traditional Religions with guests from over 60 countries. And behind these closed doors, they tackled the big questions. And this year one stood out: what happens when faith meets technology? With debates already spreading online, the delegates looked at how to protect the believers' feelings and keep extremism far from spreading on the space. Kazakhstan's president in this regard has called for ethics in the age of artificial intelligence, proposing what he described as a new commandment for algorithms built on universal moral values. In his address, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev put the spotlight on 3 pressing issues: climate change, the rapid pace of digitalization, and the conflict erupting across the globe. He also weighed in on geopolitics, warning that tensions worldwide are at the dangerous high. The president underscored just how fragile the moment is, saying the risk of nuclear conflicts is now one of the greatest concerns facing humanity.
Вероятность такого Армагеддона оценивается экспертами как максимально высокая за последние десятилетия.
Experts assess the likelihood of such an Armageddon as the highest indicates. Unfortunately, instead of constructive initiatives and policies of de-escalation, confrontational thinking is gaining momentum, geopolitical fault lines are widening, and social tensions are growing. In such difficult circumstances, in my view, constructive diplomacy should play a key role as the main tool for advancing dialogue, overcoming mutual alienation and strengthening trust on the international stage.
Преодоление взаимного отчуждения и повышение доверия на международной арене.
The Kazakh president said much of that responsibility also rests with religious leaders, many of whom use the platform to call on warring nations to choose peace over conflicts. This 8th Congress drew more than 100 delegations representing Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Shintoism and other faiths, alongside with international experts. Among the prominent figures in attendance has been the Patriarch Kirill of Moscow and all Russia, returning to the forum for the first time in 12 years.
Сегодняшняя международная обстановка лишний раз доказывает.
Today's international situation once again proves that world that denies God is a world without a future. Bloody conflicts, severe economic and environmental problems, terrorism, violation of a basic human rights. All these are direct consequences, including attempts to push religion out of the public life and confine it only to the private and narrow space of the individual.
Пространстве человека.
Notably, this year's Congress also turned a spotlight on the protection of religious sites. Across the globe, sacred places are increasingly targeted during conflicts. From churches destroyed in the Middle East to synagogues attacked in Europe, Buddhist temples vandalized in Asia, and mosques set on fire. To address this, the United Nations introduced its action plan for the protection of religious sites back in 2019. The plan aims to strengthen national laws, boost public awareness, ensure on-site security, and and promote interfaith cooperation. But experts say it now needs updating, a task that will require coordinated efforts from all nations under the UN's guidance. Backstage in our mobile studio, the UN High Representative for the Alliance of Civilizations and UN Envoy on combating Islamophobia, Miguel Angel Martinez, noted that while the fight against Islamophobia faces setbacks, it remains essential for the international community to continue tackling it with new measures.
Unfortunately, in the West, many in Europe, we are witnessing a rise, a very increase of this Islamophobic incident and accident. So I think we have to take it seriously because there is a polarization and people don't understand what means Islam. They are using Islam in a way and another that are distorting the reality of Muslim communities. So we have to put an end to that. We are going to present a plan of action in order that we have a certain measure, in order that people have to respect different religions.
The newly elected Pope Leo did not attend the Congress in Astana this time, but he sent a heartfelt message to participants online. In it, he urged religious leaders to pray side by side, serve shoulder to shoulder, and speak with one voice wherever human dignity is being violated. Lauren Bassanese of the Vatican delegation noted that the new Pope is still finding his shooting, but he expressed confidence in the growth of spiritual diplomacy, both within the Vatican and on the global stage.
We have not seen him a lot, except the day after his election, the week after his election. It was a very great sign because he gathered all the different leaders of religions. We were more or less 200 people. He addressed them a message of encouragement, a message of respect, of peace, and there is a continuity with Pope Francis and with his own style. So let's see. The future is open.
Although the Congress impact lasted throughout the week, one theme stood out. Religious leaders must guide society through aggression, climate change, and the digital age. Delegates closed their speeches with passages from their sacred texts, words that remain strikingly relevant even today in a digital time. And even in turbulent times, political decisions such as those under the Trump administration is noted by Mohammed El-Zanouzi, director of the Secretariat of the Network of Religious and Traditional Peacemakers, can deepen social divisions, underscoring just how vital religious and moral leadership has become.
Our constitution actually, value religious freedom. We have institutions that making sure that everybody living in the United States, they're free to practice. The government should not involve in that. So that's why whatever the situation could be, we continue to basically uphold religious freedom and advance religious freedom.
To sum up, at the Congress, a variety of opinions were expressed, and that is, as experts say, its strength, as it remains to be a platform for honest and open dialogue. This year, the 8th Congress issued the Astana Peace Declaration 2025, calling on believers of all faiths to unite in the face of shared challenges. Previous declarations from the foreign notably have been recognized by the United Nations, highlighting its global impacts. President Tokayev also underscored the growing importance of spiritual diplomacy, proposing the creation of a movement for peace under the Congress label. As he put in, the voice for peace must grow louder, and the gatherings like these are designed to amplify it. Baljan Samigulina, Raimбек Бегужаев, New Time. Among the Congress' distinguished guests was Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Karim Al Issa, the Secretary General of the Muslim World League, a prominent Islamic scholar and one of the today's leading voices for dialogue between the civilizations. In our exclusive conversation, he reflected on the importance of interfaith dialogue, the role of religious leaders in tackling the modern challenges, and Kazakhstan's unique initiative in promoting peace and understanding among faith via the Congress in Astana.
The conference in Astana serves as an international platform for religious leaders from across the globe. From our discussions on the margins, it was evident that they are eager to focus on practical aspects and to ensure that they contribute to real change. Many problems in today's world have their roots in religion or arise when religion is misused and distorted for negative purposes. This is precisely where such conferences help to address and correct these issues. Each religious leader has the responsibility to speak out and promote peace within their own societies, while also joining with others to create a united stance against hatred and to advance peace both globally and nationally.
Secretary General of the Muslim World League also spoke to us in Astana about the human cost of the conflict in Gaza, and he was blunt. He urged the world to act, calling on leaders in international law to stop what he described as atrocities against humanity.
No doubt, the war in Gaza and the ongoing humanitarian crisis are deeply painful. It is a genocidal war that carries all the elements of such a crime. Many religious leaders around the world are raising sincere and unbiased voices, exposing the horrendous actions taking place in Gaza. These voices are not only coming from global faith leaders, but also from within the Jewish community itself, where many are speaking out against the war and expressing their deep concerns. Religious leaders everywhere have spoken in the strongest terms, condemning this war. We must therefore call upon the international community and international law to fulfill their responsibility and put an end to the atrocities being committed. As I stated in my speech today, what is happening in Gaza is a stigma upon the face of humanity.
Catch the full conversation with Mohammed bin Abdul Karim Al Saad, Secretary General of the Muslim World League, in our interview of the Day section on the Silkway TV channel. Just scan the QR code on your screen to watch. President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev chaired a meeting of the Security Council focusing on cybersecurity and the protection of the digital environment. This will help with the increasing rate of online scams, which grew by 22% compared to last year. In the annual State of the Nation address, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev set an ambitious goal to transform Kazakhstan into a fully fledged digital country. However, this digitalization drive also heightens the risk of cyber attacks, requiring a comprehensive response. The head of state underscored the critical importance of combating cybercrime, including online fraud, and emphasized the need to strengthen the capabilities of government agencies responsible for investigating such offenses. He also identified the protection of citizens' personal data and stricter accountability for data breaches as top priorities. At the United Nations headquarters, the 18th anniversary session of the General Assembly has opened. Over the coming days, leaders from over 190 member states will gather in New York to address the most pressing challenges facing humanity. What issues will dominate the agenda, and what can the world expect from this landmark meeting? For all the details, watch our next report.
The theme of this year's political debate is working together 80 years for peace, development and human rights and the way forward. It reflects both the achievements and the challenges of UN over 8 decades. For the first time in many years, the Assembly is chaired by a woman, Annalena Baerbock, the fifth in UN history to hold this position. She took her oath on the UN Charter, formally beginning her mandate as President of the General Assembly.
This is not an ordinary session. We stand at a crossroad, a make or break moment. 8 decades of progress and setbacks, of achievement and failure, but also of renewal and resolve have brought us here. Now we need the will and ambition to turn promise into action, promise into practice, and commitments into measurable progress.
The highlight of the session will be the high-level week, starting on the September 23rd. During these days, head of state and government will deliver their address from the General Assembly podium, outlining national priorities and their vision of the global agenda. Among the main topics, armed conflict in the Middle East, climate change, and the future of international climate agreements, implementation of the Beijing Declaration on Women's and Girls' Rights, as well as new approaches to the regulation of artificial intelligence.
This 80th session is our chance to make it, not break it. To live up to the promises of the Charter for today, for tomorrow, and for the next 80 years, showing that we are indeed better together.
Kassym-Jomart Tokayev has long underscored the UN irreplaceable role. Back in 2011, while serving as UN Deputy Secretary General and Director General in Geneva, he told World Business that there is no alternative to the United Nations.
I think that there is no alternative to the United Nations. There is a single platform, universal platform in the world when people, delegations and politicians or NGOs could come and discuss all the acute and pressing issues that present in the world.
Today, as the president of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev's stance remains unchanged. The UN is indispensable as a platform for global dialogue.
The UN remains irreplaceable and, in Kazakhstan's view, should serve as the key platform for dialogue to ensure a fair resolution of all pressing international issues.
At the same time, head of state has stressed that the organization must adapt to today's realities, beginning with the reform of the Security Council. Nuray Asylbek, New Time.
The president of Kazakhstan is set to visit the United States in the coming days. In New York, he will take the stage at the 80th United Nations General Assembly, sharing the country's vision for global challenges and calling for reform inside the UN itself. The trip will also include high-level talks with US officials and meetings with leading business figures. Earlier, President Tokayev highlighted Kazakhstan's growing dialogue with Washington. For an inside look at this visit, stay tuned for our special coverage reported with the presidents, with Aynur Mangali reporting right from the scene. The Security Council is not as effective as it could be, says Bimal Adihari, the political science professor from Nazarbayev University. With the 80th anniversary of the United Nations General Assembly just around the corner, Professor shares his insights on the upcoming agenda, key issues and priorities that will shape this year's discussions. He also explores the important role that middle power countries like Kazakhstan can play in influencing the outcomes. Let's dive into the full interview to learn more.
Professor Adhikari, thank you so much for joining us today. As you know, the 80th anniversary of the United Nations General Assembly is coming this year. And we wanted to know what's the key agenda and priorities that gonna dominate this year.
So this year, I think three topics or three themes will dominate the United Nations General Assembly meeting. First being the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. So we know that President Trump has been trying very hard to resolve this issue. So I think this topic will dominate much of the UN session. The second thing being the conflict between Israel and Palestine. So a lot of major countries have agreed in principle to recognize Palestine as a state. And the third one being the trade issue. So recently the United States has imposed high level of tariff on many countries, including Kazakhstan. So I think there will be a major pushback from especially developing countries against high level of tariff imposed by the United States.
And there has been a lot of speculations over the years because the UN has been established like over the 80 years ago. And do you think how effective is the UNGA today as a platform for global problem solving compared to the other decades?
Right. So it's a very interesting question. First of all, we have to understand that UNGA is the global entity that has most member states. So, because it has a lot of member states, it has greater importance, more importance than other intergovernmental organizations we have. The second thing about United Nations General Assembly is that it allows for states, big or small, to come to New York every year and express their viewpoint. Right? So for smaller countries, they might not have a platform to say what they think is important in today's world. But nonetheless, this is the only platform that we have where we can gather all world leaders, state leaders, and it allows for state leaders to talk to each other. And sometimes, it's useful to resolve the problems that they cannot do it remotely.
And also, while we're talking about the middle power countries, Kazakhstan is also considered a middle power country, right? And we position ourselves as a bridge between the East and the West. And do you think this role can somehow help us in the UNGA this year, or?
Yes, definitely, because Kazakhstan was instrumental in passing this resolution against nuclear tests. I'm pretty sure President Tokayev will raise this issue in the General Assembly, because this is one of the key issues that Kazakhstan champions in the United Nations. The other thing is Kazakhstan is also a regional power, and it shows that it's a regional power in the United Nations. So I'm pretty sure Kazakhstan can act as an effective mediator between the West and the East, and also act as itself a regional power who is willing to help its neighbors and not just itself.
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Dakari, for such a thought-provoking interview with us. And I hope you will join us very soon.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Almost 280 billions of digital tenge were issued by the National Bank of Kazakhstan. A brand new form of money is being called the third type of national currency, and its uniqueness lies in the fact that it combines the advantages of cash and cashless payments. How it will be used and what to expect from it, let's see in the next report.
For years, Kazakhstan has been making waves in the world of fintech. Now it's stepping into a digital currency race. The National Bank rolled out the digital tenge as a pilot in 2023, and now President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev is pushing to take it nationwide.
The formation of a full-fledged digital asset ecosystem must be accelerated. The introduction of the digital tenge is already supporting this process, and the National Fund is currently using it to finance projects. Now it is time to scale up the use of the digital tenge within national and local budgets, as well as in the budgets of state holdings.
Unlike cryptocurrencies, the digital tenge will be issued only by the National Bank, making it secure and fully state-backed. At first, a limited amount was created to test the technology on a pilot project. Now the country is preparing to bring it to the public sector. But experts say only one thing is still missing: a clear regulatory framework. Without it, mass adoption will remain a challenge. One of the main goals is also to take a visible budget, thanks to tokens that can be tracked and even programmed.
Secondly, market digital tenge can be programmed to be used for specific purposes. For example, government wants to build a new school. Treasury and the National Bank issue special digital tenge tokens that can be utilized for programmed tasks. You can buy concrete or bricks with these tokens, but not a new luxury car.
So far, 278 billion digital tenge have been already issued, and that number is expected to rise as more projects are launched on the platform. Developers say that the public will access digital tenge in the next year via online banking and super apps with no additional platforms needed. Before rolling out the project, the National Bank studied global experience from leading economies and from institutions such as Bank of International Settlement and the International Monetary Fund. Still, as experts point out, every country sets its own goals and faces its own challenges when moving into a digital currency. Almir Amirov, New Time.
Meanwhile, in the cultural sphere, the spotlight is on the international music contest Silkway Star. This evening, the project will premiere on Silkway TV, but right now we take you behind the scenes of the final shooting days to see the atmosphere. To find out more, watch the report of my colleague Nuray Salbek.
For the past months, the artists and their crew have been working here, preparing every detail for the show. And now, the cameras are rolling for the final episode before the big final. It's a mix of excitement and a little bit of sadness as the journey coming to an end. Let's hear from the contestants themselves what they're feeling.
The final day of shooting is really important for us, and we still have the big responsibility of the grand finale ahead. But of course, it's a bit sad that once filming wraps up, we all be going back to our countries.
There is, of course, a little regret when such a project takes a long time and comes to completion. This feeling always appears. After all, the moment of saying goodbye to people comes, and during this time we've grown so used to each other and become close.
Feeling a bit sad because our competition almost coming to the end, so we became very close, and we are now very close friends now. So I'm so sad that we're now coming to the end and we're going to our countries.
Although the contestants are wrapping up the final days of filming, the journey of Silkwood Star is only beginning for the audience. Out of 10 episodes, 9 have been pre-recorded, and the grand final will be broadcast live on November 22nd. Let me remind, all episodes of Silkwood Star will be broadcast on our channel and on TV stations in the participating countries. In addition, the show will be available online exclusively on TV Plus by Kazakh Telecom.
With TV Plus, you can enjoy ultra-fast speed, smart home features and quick downloads. Up to 64 devices can be connected simultaneously to the next generation 10G internet.
On the TV Plus platform, all the episodes of Silkwood Star will remain available even after the live broadcast. Viewers can watch the show anytime from any device, while premieres of new episodes will also be announced in the app. Raya Slbek, New Time.
That's it for today. All the main news about Kazakhstan and Central Asia you can find here. More special projects about our country you can also watch on Silkwood TV channel. So stay tuned and see you next week.